Welcome to Banyan Books, Branches of Wisdom, celebrating the joy of bright ideas and heartful lifelong learning. Branches of Wisdom is a series of intimate conversations with the world's most influential authors and visionaries. We explore spirituality and the human mind, ecology and culture. Most episodes are recorded with a live audience. You can join our live events and submit questions to your favorite guests. Check out our upcoming schedule at banyan.com. Since 1970, Banyan Books has been a rich oasis at the crossroads of wisdom and philosophy, offering resources for humanity's evolving paths. We're a locally owned, independent bookstore in the heart of Vancouver's Kitsilano neighborhood. Visit us in person or shop online at banyan.com. Please subscribe, follow, like, and leave your reviews for the podcast. And now, enjoy.
Welcome. My name is Jacob Steele, the events manager for Banyan Books and Sound. Today we are delighted to be hosting Andrea Menard and Leah Marie Dorion on their new wisdom deck, Seeds from the Sacred Feminine. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that although we have participants joining us from around the world, the physical location of Banyan Books is on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Donations to Banyan Books help support these programs to be free for all. Just click on the PayPal link in the YouTube show notes below to donate. For those in our live audience today, Andrea and Leah will welcome your questions. Please type questions into the chat box at any point during the event. And now for introductions. Andrea Menard is an accomplished Métis singer, storyteller, speaker, and the founder of the Sacred Feminine Learning Lodge. One of the stars of the new CTV Crave series, Sullivan's Crossing, Andrea is a 5-time Gemini-nominated actress, a 15-time Music Award winner, and was named Actor National's Woman of the Year of 2021. Her latest album is a Michif language album, and her TEDx talk called Silent No More has reached almost 200,000 views. Leah Marie Dorion is an interdisciplinary Métis artist raised in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. A teacher, painter, host, filmmaker, and published writer, Dorion views her Métis heritage as providing her with a unique bridge for knowledge between all people. Leah Marie Dorion has sold over 150 original paintings, with several original artworks purchased by the Government of Saskatchewan Public Art Collection, and has been exhibited in many prominent Canadian galleries, including the Vic Gallery. She has numerous commissioned artworks, and many of her paintings are held in private collections. Today, Andrea and Leah will be presenting Seeds from the Sacred Feminine, a 52-card wisdom deck handbook. I'm going to bring up the image here. Author Mirabai Starr says of the deck, "The artwork is glorious. The teachings are both luminous and grounded. The combination truly transformational." The deck is available to purchase from banyan.com, and you can learn more about Andrea's work at andreamenard.com and about Leah's work at leahdorion.ca. And now, without further ado, it's an honor to welcome Andrea Menard and Leah Marie Dorion.
Benchi. Hello, Marcy, Jacob. Hi, Leah Marie. Okay, so welcome everyone. We're just going to do our own, the way we introduce ourselves. I know that was a beautiful introduction, Jacob, and grounding us in place. And right now I'm not at home, so I'm actually in the Mi'kmaq. I'm in Mi'kmaq territory in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And where are you, Leah?
I am in central Saskatchewan. I live near the city of Prince Albert, and the traditional name of our city is originally Kishtapananik, which means great gathering place. So I'm right in the homeland area, and I'm in a place where my Métis ancestors traded and lived and connected and it's just such a great place to be. And I'm by the beautiful North Saskatchewan River. Andrea, you and I both have
Mm.
roots to this place. We went to high school together, and there is just such a beautiful reawakening of our Métis citizens in this community. And I'm so honored to be from this area and still continue to live in this incredible Métis homeland area.
Mm.
Merci.
You're, yeah, you're so lucky because I'm living quite far from the homeland these days. I'm living in coastal communities these days. So, but my homeland is Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and so I don't know where all of you are calling in from, but we ask that you take a moment to just acknowledge the land where you are, because that's what this whole thing. I'm going to say a little prayer. I know you've got your medicines there, Leah. Yeah, you got some medicines. I've got some medicines. But this whole journey into the seeds of the sacred feminine begins with the land and prayer. So let's start that way. We're gonna light some sage, grandmother sage. I know you got some sage there, Leah. Have a prayer. And we let the prayers and the medicines travel towards you wherever you are. So just to start us off with a prayer is to help us move into that a prayerful space, a place that allows us to be in a receptive listening mode, because that's the heart of the sacred feminine wisdom. So let's just take that moment. Gichmantu, Creator, thank you for this day and this beautiful gift of life. We're so grateful that we have this opportunity to come together in the bounty of our Mother Earth as we stand on her belly, as we stand on her back, and we receive all the bounty that she gives us. We say, give thanks to all our relatives who share this beautiful land with us, to the earth, the stars, the sun, the moon, all the relatives that walk, crawl, fly, swim, the rooted ones, all those who are teachers. We ask that we open up to that space of listening, of receptivity, of knowing of our interconnectedness with each other. And all those who are here today, we ask that they receive what they came here to receive, and that the love and the nourishment that we create here today nestles in our heart for all time. And we give our thanks. Hey, hey, merci. Okay, so here we are, grounded in this place. Smudged prayers. So we'd like to talk now. Leah, why don't you just unmute so that we can be, kind of
Oh, sure.
chitty and chatty with back.
I always mute when I'm
I
not
know,
talking.
all right. Yeah. So how to begin? I guess, we grounded ourselves in place. We gave ourselves prayer. Now, I guess, we're going to talk a little bit about the grandmothers. Did I even invite the grandmothers in my prayer? If I didn't, grandmothers, we thank you for walking with us. We invoke your wisdom. And I know you're always walking with your grandchildren, Leah and Andrea here. We ask that you continue to walk with us today so that we may share your wisdom in a good way. Okay, now they've been invoked. So both of us work with the grandmothers. For those of you saw Jacob's picture, this is what our little lovely deck looks like. And those of you who have yet to purchase them, you will notice, or those who have yet to know, we have both worked with the grandmothers, and we call the grandmothers those helpers, those spirit helpers from the other realm, from the spirit realm. Leah, you work with them through the visual arts. I work with them through auditory, song, and story. So maybe you can talk a little bit about your relationship with the grandmothers.
The creativity, the spirit of creativity to me is where I connect with those beautiful grandmothers who've gone before and the generations of women who, walked before me and paved the way for me to have what I have today. And when I work in my studio and I'm working with my paints and I'm growing these ideas and getting these images, I feel that I'm being guided in so many ways by the ancestors. And often it's such a beautiful process of allowing them to take my hand, to take me through the process. And I just have to keep up. That's what I have to do, and open myself, my heart, my mind. And, when I start in my studio, Andrea, I can be really off balance. Like going in my studio to get clarity. And then when I actually, get busy, that's when I can get that flow and that balance going. And I think that's why I really enjoy the cards. I'm a card user. I meditation cards, guidance cards are so part of my way to open my creative side. Like I'll do my blessings, I'll use my medicines, and then the cards that we have created have actually, I love integrating them into my existing sets of cards to do that. And I feel that a lot of spirit comes through that intentional use of cards. So to be a part of this, Andrea, and your writing style, when I saw your manuscript that you sent to me, I felt that connection. I felt that spirit. I felt that ancestral strength. I felt the sacred feminine just jump off the page, and the tone. And I really want to thank Dr. Cindy Gadet, our dear friend, because she was able to take your first draft and bring in that extra level of grandmother energy. And I really noticed that the three of us are like this braid of sweetgrass woven together and have been able to bring this to the community. And I'm so grateful for both of you for doing that.
I want to talk about how Leah and I also move into a space of listening to the grandmothers. One of my traditional names is Notgoyutin, which is grandmother wind. And before I understood, I was always talking about the grandmothers and talking about their beautiful, their presence. They've always been helping me create my work. But it wasn't until I realized that, I have a grandmother in my name, that I really developed this relationship. I really trusted the relationship as one that was mine to excavate, learn about. And so I had more trust in being able to create something like the words that I wrote for, or I brought through. I really trusted the grandmother words that came through me in the book. Yeah. So that's for those who have yet to experience, this is what some of her beautiful artwork, for those of you who've never seen it. We're going to do a bit of a reading at the end too, but I wanted to just show some of the beautiful artwork that Leah Dorion has brought through. Look at those grandmothers. There's so much beauty in the cards that her and I brought together. Oops, that's upside down. But just for those who have never seen them, they are a beautiful, beautiful work of art, my friend Leah. Okay, so one thing that you're going to hear about, the reason why this deck exists, is because we live in a world where that Western culture of doing, of being busy, of achieving, of conquering is valued very, very highly. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we all have a feminine and a masculine nature, every single one of us. But when a culture tells you to value one over the other, then we move into imbalance, because every single one of us has both. One of us has the ability to do and to act and to make logical decisions. And every single one of us feel pain and feel intuitive wisdom. Now, whether we listen to it, whether we allow them or not, is where the difference is. So in this time, as my elders, and especially coming out of the Turtle Lodge in Saginaw First Nation, they talk about the rise of the sacred feminine, which is right now. We're in it. We're in a time where humanity is starting to find, starting to find that.
I love that. Exactly.
Starting to find the balance again, right? Moving into the knowledge that Indigenous people held for so long, land-based knowledge, balance, the interconnectedness of all people. And so if this circle is coming together again, that means that we have to make an effort to find value, to start to value the things in ourselves and in the world that have been essentially devalued. So that's why this is called the rise of the sacred feminine, because the sacred feminine has been devalued in this Western culture. And it's time that it comes into its fruition, into the heart of our hearts again, so that we may bring balance to all. And of course, the quintessential sacred feminine is Mother Earth and the grandmothers. So with their help, we are doing this work to help bring balance. So that's the purpose of them, to help you who are watching to find balance in this world, and to start honoring and valuing the things in you that the world has devalued.
So while Andrea was speaking, it just really spoke her words spoke to the cover art selection. It really did, because what she just said about the balance, the cover art, I put several considerable pieces for potential cover art, but this one spoke. Andrea, like right away when she saw this one submitted, she was like voting for it. I was voting for it. But you see the earth, the ground line. There is so much going on beneath this beautiful woman in meditation. And she's connecting with the light, the divine male, and then the sacred moon, the divine female. And together through the center, she's got that cord to creator, that beautiful cordage. And she is a conduit between her male and female side, creation, and Mother Earth. And just hearing Andrea spoke, I thought, oh, I have to jump in and share the cover art meaning. And the shadow and the light, is also another exploration of ourselves, to explore those shadow, mysterious sides, that feminine energy, and then that masculine, demonstrative, outward energy as well. So the cover art really has a connection to what Andrea was just speaking about, the male-female balance, planting the seeds in the earth and keeping that cord and connection to our creator. So Andrea, I'm glad you spoke to that, because that cover art, that really defines it. And I love that there's that beautiful red earth line in my painting. I love to put that red ochre paint, which is one of our traditional paint colors, in the ground, that lifeblood that women, we are the life givers. We move generations forward, and I love the blood red line, that moon timeline. So that was, I'm glad you spoke to that, Andrea, today. And there's a more bigger in the little book, there's a cropped version, but there's a bigger version. And you can see that like fertility symbol right under her as well, that connection to Mother Earth and fertility.
And turtles and
turtles.
So much. Yeah. Yes, her artwork is rich, like so rich. On every single card is rich with symbolism of all the things you've just said and more. And for those who I just want to make sure I plug this in. For those who are getting stepped up on the language of female, male, what I tend to not say, like I say sacred feminine, because all of humanity, all of life has a sacred feminine and a sacred masculine aspect. The day, as Leah said, is masculine, and the night is feminine. It's not male or female. So that's when people get caught up in the genders, we are all on a spectrum, every single one of us. And some of us are here to teach, and embody more of the others than some, and some have both. Our two spirited teachers are here to embody what both feels like, because every human being has both. So just want to make sure we add that, for that the language of male female isn't always accurate. It's masculine feminine, which is universal. Okay, so let's go back and how this came to be, Leah. Some people always go, so obvious, some people have no idea that Leah is, this incredible artist who these paintings, the ones in the cards, were existing paintings before I came to her. They existed already. But my words and my teachings over here were what I was doing over here and what Leah was doing over there. And when so I called her out of the blue with this idea. The grandmothers gave me a whisper, and I had, sat up in bed one of those creative times where I went, looking for a piece of paper and a pen, and I started writing down these sentences that the grandmothers were whispering, and I'm going, okay, I got them. Now what? And I realized that because I love cards too, Leah. They're in my practice. They're in my bundle, and I love using them because it's a good way to, when you're all foggy, is to actually listen to your own spirit, listen to your guidance, listen to the grandmothers, because I can't hear them. So please just tell me through a card what I'm supposed to know. And they always do. So here I was writing down these teachings that were coming in a card form. And I thought Leah literally was haunting me. She kept coming to me and they kept saying, Leah, Leah, Leah. And I said, oh yeah, maybe I could ask her for one painting. Maybe I could ask her for one painting to put on the back of the cards as my little teachings, not realizing how big they were going to get. And I called you out of the blue. And I said, can I have one painting for these cards? And she went, how many cards do you have? And I go, and I started counting. And they were exactly 4 13s. I went, yeah, there's 52. I had no idea. And she goes, well, give me the names of them and let's do a painting for each card. And the magical thing is that if you were to look at her original titles to my teachings, they almost, or if you didn't look at the titles but you saw the picture and the teachings, they just went like this, as though they were created together. So we knew then that the grandmothers were, there they are, right? We listed them. Good. The grandmothers were all over this. They brought us together with their teachings for us to come together and create this little deck. So just so you know, those paintings existed. Leah's brilliance was already in existence, and we just brought them together in this way.
What's really interesting about the process is, there's a few people who followed my art. You're one of them from the beginning days to now. And my art has changed and got more sophisticated, more balanced as I've done the work on myself. And I just love that this deck has some of my raw early work, and then it has some of the more, again, this is a more sophisticated, more recent piece, and anyone who has an art eye, they'll say, wow, that's quite a spectrum of skill. So there are some that are very simplified from my earlier days that are definitely from a different place in my skill development as an artist. And I think it's really quite clear. You'll be able to see some of the artwork is earlier work and has a more simplistic, less sophisticated detail palette, and that's good. So this card set, really, because it took Andrea years to get this birth. It's like any child, big child, baby, took time to gestate properly and so beautifully. So, which gave me more time to sub out some of my older paintings and put some. So this deck actually is the most beautiful synopsis of my art career. And I'm really grateful for Andrea for allowing me to contribute to the actual physical cards, because it's like looking back for me at the growth of myself. And I really do appreciate it, because I've never had a book with all my art over time published. So to me, it's like a mini little art show gift that you gifted to me to help me see my own growth. And that's pretty profound, when as an artist, to be given the opportunity from a community member to say, yeah, let's just have a whole snippet of your career in a 52 card deck. It's really, for me as an artist, this is just a tremendous experience. And, Andrea, like the fact that, it merged so well, like you said, we're truly blessed to be able to do that partnership, and both being Métis. We're Métis and giving the Métis spin. And I always say to the people that ask me questions about the card, I see it's just like so beautifully simple. We don't go into this super deep philosophical. It's actually so simple and beautiful and elegant. We don't go to those deep layers of our teachings. There's a other place for that. This is just for clarity. Go back to basics. Andrea, you knew I play sports. I played volleyball for years competitively. And there would be time we went too detailed, and we'd have to go back to basics because we're running amok. Go back to, I feel this card set for me, when I use it, it brings me back to simple basics, gets me out of here and into basics. So that's what I love about the way it's developed.
Thank you for that reminder, because you know, and the simplicity is purposeful, but in many ways, the sacred feminine is simple. It's about going back into. If there was a word that I would use to encapsulate this entire deck, it's gentleness. It's gentleness, because in our world is pretty harsh. And what we say to ourselves is harsh, and what we say to each other, and what the culture says about women or two-spirited or Indigenous people or anyone, nurturing men, you know, people of color, people with extra abilities or disabilities, you name it. It's a harsh, harsh world. So in order for us to feel safe enough to change, it's like we need a gentle space and a gentle voice in our ears that says, it's okay, take that step. You are worth it. You are worth it. You are worth it, my little loved ones. You know, you're my grandchild.
Yes.
And a lot of, you know, I heard from a beautiful male brother who said, you know, I'm really glad that they say grandchild, like grandmother, because me and my mom, we have a little bit of a, if it was mother, I'd have a little bit of a trigger, but because it's grandparents, like they're kind of there's a little bit of distance. So it's, again, gentle in that relationship of the feminine. So he has a struggle with his feminine mother, but not his grandparents. So in a way, he's able to access the knowledge in it because he's not triggered. So gentleness is huge. And for those of you who are on a self-evolutionary path, and you've been on one for a while, they are deceptively simple. But if you keep reading, and you know, they go deep too. But they don't have to. They can, or they don't have to. Sometimes there's irreverence and silliness, and sometimes it's just to get you very, very present, because that's where all your power lies anyway, is right here, right now. Gently.
Well, Andrea, I think you know, because I'm so excited I look forward to you doing the 4-card draw, because I think it's a perfect time, because we're just about at the halfway mark. So it's already, oh my goodness, that time. And this is my favorite part of doing live events, is where actually we get to use the cards and dig into the cards. So Andrea has volunteered with her set to shuffle them, invoke them. And then we did a 4-card draw before, so we're going to do 4 cards today as well.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to maybe have all of us together just move into a very receptive state to just listen and maybe ask a question. And this is going to be for all of us here. This is going to be a collective reading, which always can be, you know? So I'm just going to move into that space of listening and see what cards come. And I have to move them over here, so don't mind me as I leave the camera.
I love the weight of the cards too. They're really beautiful. I got a shout out to Mango for making such a beautiful set. I love, Andrea and I talked before, you know, I get a lot of box sets that open up the other way, like you lift it. This is so neat it just opens up that way. And I really haven't had many card sets that do that. And I really want to shout out to the publisher as well, Mango, for a very quality product. So Andrea's working in a space where she's got a pretty limited movement, but she's doing darn good. She's gonna do it. A 4-card draw. And just for those of you, we've got the book gives suggested ways to use the cards as well. Andrea made sure to do that. Yeah.
So I don't have a way that I can show you my desktop, but my first card that I picked was Let Your Waters Flow. That was in the Eastern Doorway. Okay, that was in the Eastern Doorway. Let Your Waters Flow. And then the next one was Put Your Hands in the Dirt. in the southern door. And it's important that we talk about those doorways in a moment. The western door, listen to the wisdom of your feelings. And in the northern door, embrace a new idea.
Wow.
So we're also, okay, once again, I'm going to talk about let your waters flow are in the eastern door, but I also like to say that it is in the doorway of the physical body, because the sacred feminine is emotional and full of sensation and listening. It's a great habit. It's a great relationship grower to develop relationships on how our bodies are talking to us. Our four sacred bodies, the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. And so this is in the place of the physical body, and it says, let your waters flow. So let's just say that's a pretty obvious one. It's a time of tears. It's a time of grief. There might be grief in this audience. We're in this time. There it is. Let your waters flow. It's a time to allow whatever's going on in your heart to flow. Do you want to read some of that, Leah?
Oh, I'll just read the last bit here. You came knowing you would forget your sacred lineage during your earth walk. Bathe in the sacred feminine waters to remember who you are. Your grief is honored and your tears are sacred. Let them flow. Great wisdom will be found on the other side of their release. And it's on page 44. One of my favorite numbers is 44.
Yay!
Yep. I love 44.
So let your waters flow. That's a big one about grief. And I have to say that humanity is going through some collective grief. So it's no accident that it's right here and very present in our lungs and in our hearts. So if you've got some breathing problems, there might be some grief. So just let them flow. Find ways, find your tools to let them flow. So that is in the eastern doorway, physical body. The next one is in the emotional body and southern doorway. Put your hands in the dirt. Now we know that winter is coming. We know that winter is upon some of you with snow. Pardon me. Oh, I might just mute myself as I.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. I
Go
can
ahead.
read it actually, Andrea. I'm going to read it. Plant your hands in the dirt. Page 56 of your book. It says, you've let yourself become too separate from the elements, and your physical body knows it. Give Mother Earth an intimate handshake by running your hands through her soil. Whether you are a gardener or not, you will benefit from this ancient ritual. When the moisture from your hands mingles with the moisture of the earth, a reconnection is made and a recognition occurs. Earth meets earth. Take a moment to acknowledge your sacred mother and let her acknowledge you. Say hello and send her your gratitude. She is the source of life, and your life would not be without her. Do this often, for your mother misses the connection with her child. You need replenishing more than you think. Oh my goodness. I am a big earth toucher, and like everybody is grounding around me now. And I've always loved just barefoot walking, and I naturally grounded a lot. I just love grounding. And to read that card, it just reminds me of how I feel, and that I do feel that sometimes when I'm not grounded, I can't walk very balanced. Beautiful one to draw today.
And because it's in the position of the emotional body, I want to help those of you who are struggling emotionally, is that Mother Earth is your healer. She is the one who can help you with what you need. So because it's in the place of, a place, these always are a message from your emotional body. So in the position that it's sitting in, according to this reading I'm doing, the emotional body is saying, you want me to help you? I know how to help you. Put your hands in the dirt. Put your hands on the earth. Go and connect with Mother Earth, hand to hand, earth to earth.
And I
And
love
that
the
will be your
artwork,
helper.
Andrea, the one that you were just holding. It also shows moon, earth, a water
Mm,
line, and the flow of it all. And I
mm,
just thought that artwork just really matched up to Andrea's message again. And you can see all the connection lines that go into the earth and that heart and grounding that is in her teaching.
And in her stillness, look at this woman. She's here in a sacred way, going to the earth to communicate. And that's really healing for your emotional body. Just saying. Okay. So now for the Western door in the place of the mental body, the mind. And I love that this is in that position. Listen to the wisdom of your feelings. So is that not saying from the grandmothers, we are entering a time where the mind is needing to be retrained to value the feelings. Listen to the wisdom of your feelings. Can you believe that in the position of the mind? You want to bring soothing to your mind, you want to bring ease to your worried mind. Listen to the wisdom of your feelings. So go ahead, Leah.
Oh, I just love it. I'm going to open with your first sentence. Your feelings are trying to tell you something, grandchild. Did you know that of the four sacred bodies, the emotional body is the least understood and respected? It's time to change this imbalance. So a lot of emotional stuff today, a
Wow.
lot of flowing and feelings.
Yeah. And if we were to actually scratch the surface of each individual person, I bet everyone here would go, oh, yeah.
And I love it.
Been
It's
going through some
48,
stuff.
page 48 of the book, Andrea, 4 and an
Okay.
8. Like, how
Yay.
lovely.
Yeah.
48.
Okay, so listen to the wisdom of your feelings in the mind slot. So now our final northern doorway, which is this place, the sacred place of the spiritual body. Now it's actually moving into one that refers to the mind. So I love this reading because there's a stereotypical way that we think of the mental body, the spiritual body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. But the spiritual body is saying it's time to embrace a new idea. It's time to maybe move away from logic, that logical way of being, and to embrace all of this feminine way of being, which is much more intuitive and much more feeling based, because so much wisdom lies within our emotional body. We call them wisdom keepers for a reason. So this wise place in the spirit, the spiritual body that is always dwelling in the arms of the creator, the spiritual body that always knows who you are and never forgets your sacred lineage, it's telling you from that sacred space is to embrace a new idea, and whatever that is. Maybe this idea of the sacred feminine is new or weird, but it's your own spirit of this collective group is saying, embrace a new idea. But look, there's a person there, a man there smoking a pipe, sending prayers up to Creator.
Yeah.
Embrace a new idea. Go ahead, Leah.
I just love the book too. It really, I'm just going to read one sentence from it. Like the womb of creation, it is ever expanding. This can be very difficult for your human mind to understand. The five senses can convince you that you live only in the physical world. This is not true. So there's some really nice nuggets in each of the write-ups. Like I said, I love the book because it really contextualizes everything. And then sitting the card by the book actually really connects that whole intentional purpose and allows the sacred feminine energy and concepts to just be received. The seeds. That's why I love seeds. Oh my goodness. The
Yeah,
seeds of the
planting
sacred feminine.
seeds.
Planting
Yeah.
seeds. And just for the people who maybe don't have a deck or are thinking of getting one, they are alphabetical. So you can get your title of your card and go alphabetically, but the pages are numbered. So it's really easy to follow and connect from the book to the actual physical card. So it's user friendly, definitely. I find it that way.
And, you know, you can't really see how stunning these are, but when they're in your hand, actually touching and looking at all of the incredible intuitive pieces that Leah has added to the card that will add to the teaching. So you have the writing and then you have the card. So it's a beautiful, beautiful way to connect with your grandmother. So this reading overall is so gentle. You'll notice it's so kind, but it is really strongly suggesting that this collective group right here, right now, is that there's some grief. There's some grief present, and that it's okay. But where, you know, if we need help, is to go to the earth, go to the land for some help, and then to listen to that grief and to listen to the wisdom of your feelings and to honor it. So you need your mind and your spirit involved in the healing of your heart and your wounds and your grief. So allow those to be here. As a collective, you know, that's not so strange. We're kind of in some stuff. We're in some stuff right now. So it's okay to let your grief find your way. Go and use your tools that allow that grief to return to mother safely. Okay.
Andrea,
Reading complete.
it's like 15 minutes left. Can you believe already? I told you it would fly.
Yeah.
We're almost at that stage where we probably should take some questions from the
Yeah.
community members joining us today. And I know that the chat is probably the greatest way. Banyan Books will facilitate the chat, but Andrea also wants to make a note that a part of the sale does go back to the Turtle
The
Lodge.
Clan Mothers Healing Village.
Clan Mothers Healing Village.
Yeah.
So that's really built into the giving back structure in the whole cards purchasing design. And then also Andrea is going to be doing a full moon gifting, which is just maybe we better say it now, Andrea, because you know we're going to
We might forget.
So
we have for the last little while I've been sending out, there's a message on my website that says if you purchase 2 or more decks or 4 or more decks, because I know it's gift season, it's gift giving season. So if you purchase 2 or more or 4 or more, there's some gifts I'm giving, there's a giveaway I'm giving. And one of them is a full moon ceremony in January. And all those details will come if you purchase. So there's a full moon ceremony that's exclusive to people who've purchased, and also my Honoring Your 4 Sacred Bodies audio program, which is worth $250. So it's a giveaway if you order 4 or more decks. So I'm doing these giveaways because I personally care deeply that with every deck sold, that a portion of the proceeds goes towards the Clan Mothers Healing Village, which is a big deal to me. And Mango Publishing agreeing to this is a big deal. So we're thrilled about that. So all you have to do is to email me. I don't know if I can put Andrea at sacredfeminine.ca. Andrea at sacredfeminine.ca. If you purchase 2 or more decks from Banyan, which I hope you will go to Banyan and purchase as much as you want from them, or wherever in your own community, you know, but I don't know where you are calling from, but if you're in Vancouver, come in. But you can also buy it online from them. So please go to banyan.com and order the seeds from the Sacred Feminine from Banyan. But if you do, just make sure you take a photo or, you know, send me a copy of some sort of you purchasing 2 or 4 or more, and then email it to me and I'll add you to a list and you'll get all the information.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay. That's really beautiful. And Andrea's website's really good for information. She has all the links that you could ever want. So please check out her website. It's very well done, very informative.
Yeah. And was there anything else we want to say? Yeah, we just really wanted to say thank you to Banyan too before we went to questions, just in case we get cut off at the end. Banyan, you have been our champions from the beginning, and I want to thank you for hosting us today. And please, if you're going to purchase the deck, please go to Banyan. I'm huge fans. I like supporting local bookstores. So
yes, they do need the support, local and owned local. Yeah, really important. Kind of fits the philosophy, right? Of that, you know, support local, help our own community.
Doing good work.
Yeah, local.
Jacob, you coming back for questions? There you are. Hi.
Jacob.
Hi. So actually, someone just wrote. Mary just wrote. She said she bought one this week from Banyan. Can I top it up and get the perks?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You just have to show, send the things. Absolutely.
I was
Yeah.
just actually, when I was listening to you guys speak just now, I was it was like you're reminding me of like when Andrea, when we first spoke about this deck. It was like a long time ago, right?
A
Like
long time ago.
when, like you said, let's do an event, and we're doing this deck, and we were like, yeah, let's do it. Like, when is it gonna happen? And when was that? That was like years ago, I think.
Years ago, because it's had many lives, and it's had many lives, and and they've all been, I like to say that the grandmothers have timed it perfectly. I personally have been struggling because that's my masculine self wants to go schedule, do this correctly, right? But my feminine side, it's like the grandmother's going, oh, you're going to teach what you most need to learn, grandchild. So I had a vision for it, years ago, and then that got stopped. And then I had another vision for it, and it was an independent deck. That's when we first started. When I'm like, Jacob, can you help me out?
Right.
I'm doing this, and then I did an Indiegogo,
Yeah.
and it blew up. It sold out in a day. People bought them, and I went, oh, this could be amazing. But I'm not a distributor. Am I going to be mailing it to people for? So I went out and attempted to get a publisher, and Mango Publishing were right on board right from the beginning. And so that took a little bit of dancing. And I knew that I went, well, I can't do a launch and then do another launch. So I just had to stop it. And in this whole time, and then there was a delay in shipping, a delay in where is the deck, and which shipping container is it, and all of that stuff that prevented, COVID reduced, visibility, shipping problems. But it wasn't until the Clan Mothers Healing Village that we brought them into the mix is when everything started to smooth and travel the way it was supposed to. And I thought, oh, you were waiting until all the pieces fell into place, that I would know that this deck was always, right from the very beginning, it was always, I made a deal with the Clan Mothers Healing Village when it was an independent deck to say, I want a portion of the proceeds to always go to you. And I sent them a check when I did that Indiegogo campaign. And then when it came to this big publisher, I didn't know if I had that type of relationship. I was a little frightened to approach it. But then with all the delays and the funny stuff that went on, our relationship had solidified, and I came to them with this question, and that's when they said, absolutely. So it's like all the pieces and all the timing had to just wait until this happened, because let's just, the prayer is, Leah and I have a prayer that this little Métis deck, this gentle deck of grandmotherly wisdom, travels throughout the entire globe, touching people in a way that brings harmony to their hearts. And if that were to travel the globe, then all of that abundance also is shared with the Clan Mothers Healing Village, which is what it says. It doesn't exist yet, but they are raising funds, and they broke ground in August for this beautiful land-based healing lodge and ceremonial ground and a place of learning and place of economic growth. So it's going to be the first of its kind, and it's going to be run by clan mothers and matriarchs. So it's a big deal for the Indigenous community in Manitoba. So we thank you for being a part of that journey.
Wow, it's miraculous. It's a miraculous birthing.
Painful.
Well, part of the birth. So I'll read a question here. So this was from Mary or Mary Jane. She wrote, "Hello, Andrea and Leah Marie. Thank you for creating such a beautiful gift of wisdom for us. I have the original deck. What might I expect as differences in the second deck?"
Well, swap out art. We shifted some of the art and added some substitutions. So there is a little bit of a difference in regards to some of the art. That was changed. So to elevate some of it with some newer, to get that spectrum of my artistic practice, Andrea allowed some substitutions of older. So in the new deck, you're going to get a little bit more, a difference in the art for sure.
13 new pieces, I think. Didn't we do 13 new pieces? Is
I
it
think
something like that?
something close to that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in the original deck, you can see, because I cared so deeply about her original paintings, I didn't want any part of her painting cut off, so it's farther away. These ones are right to the edge,
Yeah.
and even though there's probably not the full painting,
Yeah.
it's still, it's much cleaner. It's got
Yeah.
so much more. And there are a few teachings. There are a few teachings that have changed as well. Not as many as the teachings has changed, but some of them have all, there's a few new cards with new titles, with a few new changes in the text. So there's a few things that people can expect if they have received the very beginning independent deck, which I bless you for, Mary Jane. But there's more. Oh, there's so much more, and they're so beautiful to behold.
So thank you. So here's another question. This is from Mary. Is there significance to the colors of the text? I think there's 4 colors. Also, some seem bolder and some lighter.
Mm.
Our designer actually did play with color. I noticed that they do along the edge play with a lot of color. Like, so the book actually has, like, if you were to just go like this, there's colors on the outside edge of the page, and not every heading for each card has the same color palette. So they really chose to integrate a diverse color palette. They felt that would be more dynamic, and it did honor kind of my art is full of color. So I don't think a monochromatic approach would work. So they went with that full Métis blast of color. In the Métis artistic style, we have color, our beadwork, our clothing, the way we express ourselves in our traditional arts is just been so beautifully colorful. And so I'm glad that the deck has, even though it's got that white foundational, page, there's that little bit of splash of color continuity to give it that connection between the book and the cards.
Yeah.
There's a comment from Arlette, who wrote, my daughter, Belle Beach, and my granddaughter both used the deck in her healing at Redfish, and said that sacred feminine cards are used by my 13-year-old granddaughter too.
Yay, Arlette! Way to pass it on to the grandchildren. See, that's what I love about this, though, is that because they're simple, they can reach any age, any gender, any nation. It's just everyone has a familiarity with a grandmother teaching, whether they had a wise grandmother or not. I lost my grandmothers early. I never had one, but the grandmother's wisdom is gentle for everyone. So a 13-year-old can have, oh yeah, I can read this wisdom and understand it, as well as a grandmother or great grandmother who's been around a long time. They might gather, the deeper meanings as well.
There's a note from it just says MNOWC region 1 is the name.
Yeah, MNO, the Métis Nation of Ontario.
And so wrote, do both Andrea and Leah do seeds from the Sacred Feminine presentations for in-person groups in Canada?
Yes. Together? Do we do it together? We haven't yet. We haven't traveled together yet, but we both, yeah, absolutely. We do. Yeah, that's what I do. It's my little work that I'm here to do. And Leah and I haven't done many together, but we're hoping to. We're hoping to. Feel free to reach out to us, cousin.
Invite you maybe to go do something.
Yeah.
So I guess we have time maybe for one more question or comment. This is from Florette. Wrote, your work is so inspiring. I would love to see a Clan Mothers Healing Village out west as well. Is this something we may see in the future?
Well, it is out west. It's in, oh, you mean west? Which west do you mean? But it's in Manitoba. So from where I'm sitting, it's west. Yeah, it's
maybe like Vancouver, like, or
yeah,
maybe,
okay, that west. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, it's we'll see how that one goes, you know. Let's see. That one is going to be in existence in the next couple of years. So it might be nice to see that we have a living, breathing example of what that looks like. And then others can take up the torch and create it, you know. It's a big undertaking. Millions and millions and millions of dollars have needed to be raised. But you want to know where it started? In a generous act of reconciliation. I believe, and I might get the names wrong, so you can find this out on the Clan Mothers Healing Village website, but I believe it was an order of nuns who had this land in Manitoba, and an act of reconciliation gifted the land to the Clan Mothers, to them to build on that land. So it was an act of reconciliation of land back to this cause. So without land, they can't do it. So maybe that's the first piece, is to, if we want it in other places in Canada, we have to rally that type of spirit of giving back.
Well, thank you both so much for this really inspiring conversation and the birthing of this incredible project, which is much bigger than just the decks. There's so much in it. So it's been great. And thanks for joining us, Banyan, and thank you very much. And thank you to everyone for coming out and listening, and your many comments. Is there any final words you'd like to say, or?
Thank you, Marcy. No, I feel really honored to come together in this particular configuration of Banyan and Leah and I and Cindy. Dr. Cindy Godet is our original editor is in that audience there too. So somehow this group right here is like the beginning seeds. So I really feel that the people listening who are interested in the cards, or who already have the cards or want to share the cards, you get to see where it began.
Beautiful. And if everybody would, you can find out more at andreamenard.com, and you can find out more at leahdorion.com, and of course
.ca.
leahdorion.ca, and then banyan.com. So, and thank you, Mango Publishing. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Chimasi. Great, thanks.
Merci, my friends.
Thanks for joining us for Branches of Wisdom, a podcast of Banyan Books and Sound, Canada's spiritual and healing resource since 1970. Our podcast producer is Jacob Steele. Watch all our conversations on YouTube by searching for Banyan Books, or listen on your favorite podcast platform. Please subscribe, follow, like, and leave your reviews and comments. We love to hear from you. For all our live events, books, and more, visit us at banyan.com.